GHM Academy webinar series. Webinar 3. Learn how to create quizzes and use them in your lessons.
Welcome to GHM webinars again. This is our third webinar in our series. And today we're going to be talking about quizzes. And so quizzes are part of a lesson, and lessons are what you see in the bookstore. So we'll start with that. We're going to also cover today our new functionality in GHM Academy. So welcome everyone. My name is Monica Ortiz. I'm the Communication Officer at MPO Educational Enterprise, and we are going over GHM Academy today. So we'll start with Martin. He's our CEO, and he will be introducing quizzes to us today. Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Monica. Okay, so today, like Monica said, we're going to be talking about quizzes, but the first thing I want to make sure is that, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Excellent. Now, like Monica said, we have a bookstore, which is located here, where you find all the different lessons. You have classrooms, that's where teachers create their own classroom, and then you have Creator. So we're going to be pressing on Creator to create a lesson so that we're able to create some quizzes. Now we're in Creator. So once we're in Creator, you want to press on the plus sign here. It says new lesson, or you can use a lesson that already exists that you've been working on. So if I would press here, this would permit me to create one of these lessons. But since I have an example already of a lesson created, we're going to go straight into the lesson itself. So it's like I've created this lesson, and now we're going to go into it. It brings me into the lesson, so where I can find the different pages that I've already created. And what I want to do now is create a new page that will include a quiz. So to do so, you go to the little wheel that's located here, you press on it, and then from here, you basically select new page, because a quiz has to have a page. You can't just simply create a quiz in thin air. You need to actually put it somewhere in your lesson. So we're going to press on new page. It opens it up. And then from here, you have the ability to basically add all the information that you would like to find on that page. Now, since we're just doing a quiz for this page, we're basically going to focus the page for the purpose of this quiz. But the first thing you will need to do in this page is give it at least a title. So we're going to call it Battle of the Plains of Abraham quiz. Of course, the reason why I'm calling it that is because my lesson is about the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, and I want to create a quiz that's going to be directly linked to the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. So that's the title. Now, I'm going to write basically here some information about, a quiz. I could put some information, an image or something that would help, people understand that we're talking about a quiz. So I'm going to add an image, and this image will be, I'm just going to go and get it, the link. So I want to add an image so that people understand that this page is about a quiz. So I'm going to insert an image and put in this source. And then from here, I'm going to save it. I'm going to center it. And then now I have an image that talks about quizzes. Then I'm going to add a little text to it. So that way, like I said, so my students or the person that is going to be wanting to use the quiz, I've written this quick text by clicking on the button, take quiz. You will test your knowledge and comprehension on this lesson. So I will center that, and the button will appear just underneath my text. So this way, this page is structured to now receive a quiz. It's very much focused on that. I could have put in a video, I could have created a page and then added the quiz into it. So that way, if you're doing maybe something on languages or you're doing something related to, something over about history, and in the page you want to test the ability of the student to understand who's on that page or what they're going to be learning from, and you want to do a recap, you can do that directly, linking it to that page. Now we come into this button, it's called New Quiz. Some of you may be familiar with GHM Academy in the old method that we used to use. Now this is a brand new way. It's giving you some more flexibility, and it also will permit us in the future to add a lot more things. So here, if I want to, then I'm going to still have to give a title to my quiz, but this title won't really appear anywhere. It's just for reference for the system. So I'm just going to call it again, Battle of the Plains of Abraham quiz. Whoops, quiz. So I have my name. I can now create a quiz either in English and also in French. In this case, if I would select French, you will notice that I can put a French title and also put in some questions in French. Prior to this, we used to have two quizzes separately. Now the quizzes are joined together. And I'm just going to remove the French. So we're just going to make an English quiz. This means it will only appear, this page will only appear, and the quiz will only appear when someone selects the language English at the top right corner. If they wanted to, or a lesson that is in French, well, we would have to create the quiz in French because it will not appear and they will not be able to see it. So if you'd like to do two languages, please make sure to select the second language as French. So from here, we're going to add a new question. So we're ready to add a question. It's not that difficult. I press on new question. Do I want to have a multiple choice, a text question, or fill in the blanks? Those are the ones that we can select. I'm going to start with the multiple choice. It's the easiest one, and I'll show you all the different options that you have once you've selected multiple choice. So I select multiple choice. Then I can give it a score. How do I want to score my quiz? Well, I'm going to give it a 3, score of 3. Now, from here, I can literally add any information I want in this quiz. I can basically, this is a HTML page. You can put in videos, images. You can put whatever you want. You can make the quiz as pretty as you want, your question as pretty as you'd like. I'm going to make it just interesting because I want to add a video, because I want to put in a question specifically on a video. Sorry about that. YouTube video. I'm just going to cancel that and go and get my YouTube video that I want. And I simply have to copy the link from any YouTube video. And then from here, I insert it by selecting media. I put it in, and there we go. Now, this is, of course, a video about the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. I want to center it. And then I'm going to ask the students to please video, oops, sorry, and select the best. Let's just say select, and select, because I have a multiple choice that I'm doing, select the people, let's just say people that we are talking about in the answers below. So there we go. So now I've got my question, I've got my video, I want them to listen to it, and then so they can find the people that this video is talking about. Then by pressing here, answer, now I can add best answer, that means one choice, or several choices. So I want them to pick all the people. So I want them to pick all the best the best answers. In other words, there could be 4 answers, there could be 2, because depending on how many people I will put in the answers down here. Okay, partial marks or correct answers. Here you can choose if it's going to be a partially marked. That means if they pick 2 out of the 3, they're going to get 2 points out of the 3 points potential. Or you could say they have to have all of them correct. So this is a choice that you have. Right here, what I'm going to do is, and I'm just going to put Jacques Cartier. And we know that's not a correct answer. So we're just going to keep adding some new answers. Then we're going to put Montcalm. And then we're going to add another one. This one is a correct answer. Then we're going to add Wolf. This is also a correct answer. And we're going to add me, because of course I was at the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. So let's see if the students will be able to figure that one out. Now I'm going to save this. So by saving it, all these answers will be saved. And then you will be able to go back to the questions that we've been working on. And then you will see the type of question, right? So multiple choice, right? That applies to multiple answers, right? It's a partial mark. So that means if the student only gets one of them correct, he will or she will get only 1 point. And then you have the answers to the question that we've asked, and the question is right here. I will go to quizzes, and now we can see what it looks like. And I could always edit it again, go back to editing to change my question if I want to do something new. Now I'm going to go fill in the blanks. We'll do text at the end, but we'll do fill in the blanks as the next question. So fill in the blanks. We're going to once again select a score. I'm going to take a score of 3. And then here, we're just basically filling in the blanks. So Martin, no, let's just do this. Wolf was the, and then we're going to put blank 1. That means that the students right here, we're going to have to write the correct answer. So Wolf was the general of the British, and then we're going to do blank, which is pretty obvious, right? Oops, blank 2. So we got blank 1, blank 2. I could add more, but we're just going to go here. If we want to help the students, it's pretty obvious to fill in the blanks. Once you'll see it, it's basically a square, but if you'd like to, you could always write on top, please fill in the blanks in the following sentence. So that way you can use it. And then you could put another sentence underneath it if you wanted to. And then it would be blank 3, blank 4, depending on what. So we could maybe do that. I could just write Montcalm is the blank 3 of the, whoops, I was going to write the answer, blank 4 of the blank 4, and then we can put blank 5. So the answer would be here. Montcalm is the general of the French army, right? So then we'll have to add the answer. So then what we do is we go here to answer, we press on it, and you can see my blank 1, blank 2, blank 3, blank 4, blank 5. This is where I write my answer. So the first one was Montcalm is the, and we're going to write general, right? And then the second one was, and it was army, I guess. Sorry, I was going to have to take a look at that again. And then here we're going to write Montcalm is the, I think it's general. And then here we're going to write French. And then here we're going to write army.
Do you see the question at the top of the page? Okay, yeah, you see the question at the top of the page there.
And it's the same thing here. Do we want to write here a partial mark? Oh yeah, Wolfe was sorry, I have it here, I could see it. The general, right, of the British Army. Montcalm is the general of the French Army. So that's correct. So I can see my question. And then I could do a partial mark for correct answers, or I can mark, mark all as, they have to get them all correct. We're still going to be nice. We're going to do a partial marking here. And at any moment, I could basically erase my answers and rewrite them if I want to. So then I save it again to make sure that it's saved, and it tells me, yes, it is. Then I go to my question. I can take a look at it and see if that is correct. And then I can go to my quiz. Now I put them in the wrong order. Let's say I want to move this one instead, number 1, number 2, but I want number 2 to be number 1. I just simply drag it over and it just basically switch around. But then thinking about it, maybe it's better they watched the video before, so I'm just going to move it around again. Now, the next one is basically a text question. Text questions are, whoops, sorry, I'm just going to cancel. I'm going to save it first, and then we're going to go into text questions. You notice the system will help you out there too, right? To make sure that you don't make a mistake like I did and forget to save something before moving on. And here, this is basically an open-end question. In other words, I could write and say, please tell me in your own words, how did the Battle of the Plain of Abraham finish, right? So you could write that. So please tell me in your own words, the story about the battle of the Abraham. Okay, so then that means that the student would just basically write a text. Now, if I want to also give them the answer that I would be looking for, so I would write here, just press on answer. And then I have a choice. Is it auto marked? That would mean that it will correct exactly what you write. So in other words, if you want to write maybe it's just a quick sentence, they're supposed to know exactly the words they're supposed to put in that answer, and it has to match word for word, then you can auto mark it. The computer will look at it and say this sentence match. Now, if they forget a dot or they misspell a word, the whole thing will be considered wrong. So normally if you're writing a long text, you'd be preferable for you to read it or get the students, before you mark it, you would want to read it, because the students would have written something, very different than necessarily what you would have expected them to write. So maybe some of it is correct, depending on how you want to correct that. So auto mark, in this case, I will remove. And then I can put a long text. That means, we know they're going to be writing a lot. So we just want to put a long text, and then it will have to be corrected, right, by the teacher or the person that has shared this lesson with them. So here we go, and I can add new answer. The answer here, it will be used in the sense that if you permit the students to see the answers in your classroom, or a teacher permits to let them see the answer, they will see the answer here. So you could basically write something about the Battle of Plains of Abraham that you would want them to have written, right? Or an idea at least of what they should have written.
Are you typing in the form? I don't
No,
see
I'm
it.
not. I'm typing on my other screen, sorry.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go and get some little text here quickly, so that way I don't have to type it all. So the answer could be something like this. Okay, so I basically went and got a text that explains what the Battle of Plains of Abraham, when it happened, how it happened. So I'm just going to save it. And then I'm going to go back to my quiz here and go to the quiz. And now I have my 3 styles of questions, and I'm going to save it. So save it right now. And then I'm going to go back to my page, my original page. So now my quiz will be integrated right here, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. And now my quiz is right here. So if I want to practice and take a look at what I produced, here it is. Here's my video, and it says, please watch the video, okay, and select the people that are talking about in the answers below. So I could select, I'm going to select 2 different people. I know that's wrong. And then here I'm going to write Martin. I'm just going to get it wrong on this one. And then I'm going to get this one right and write Army. And then I'm going to write this one. Mon calme is the, and we'll write general. And then we're going to write, I'll pretend I don't know. So we're going to write the English. And then we'll put Army. So from here, right, you can see, and then it says, please let me know, you know, in your own words. I'm not going to write the whole thing. I'm just going to write a little bit quickly here, just copy and paste my text. And there you go. And that gives me the answers. And then I submit it. And as I submit it, I got it wrong, 0 out of 3. That means when I selected, I said, you got to get them all correct. And I didn't. So this is where I lost some points. Here I said, if I get some of them correct, give me some of the score correct. And that's what I did. And then here, the last one here is marking required. In other words, that will have to be marked by the teacher or by the person that is sharing this quiz. But you can see that I have given them the answer, so they know that they did it wrong. They can retake the quiz if the teacher or the person that is sharing this quiz with them. Now, let me show you a little bit of that, what that could look like. So I'm going to go to the classroom. And this is still part of the administration of the quiz, so you understand on the side of the teacher how they could be administrating something like this. So I'm just going to pick a classroom, and then I'm going to go into content, and then I'm going to go add a lesson because it's a lesson I want. And it's one I've created. So from my creations, I pick it and I select it. And then I can go and I'll save. So now I've added to this classroom this lesson that the students can now do. I'm going to basically log in, and I want to make sure that I have a user I can use. I think I'm going to pick this one as a user and copy. And I'm going to just go back to my teacher, log out, and then log back in as a student. I hope I remember the password, and I did. So right here, I'm the student, and I can go to basically the classroom or the event. This is my classroom. This is showing me all the lessons that the teacher is permitting me to see. So then I click on it, and I am in the lesson. Here is my quiz as a student. I'm still a student. And then I'll fill it in as a student, Malkan, Wolf. And then here, we're just going to write Martin. And then we're going to write Army. We'll write English. I didn't learn my lesson yet. And then we'll write general. And then from here, I will just add the text. So I will select here, and then I submit. And then I've gotten, if you notice, question mark and a 9, right? So this tells me I got the score here that's correct. I got this one correct, but this one still needs to be marked. So I'm going to log back in as the teacher, so that way you can see what I've just done. So I'm going to log back in as a teacher, and I'm going to go to my classroom that I was here, which is this one. I believe so. Yeah, that's the correct one. And I'm going to go to my marking. So you see, this is the quiz I just did. So the teacher knows that they have to mark it, they mark it, and then they can change the score. You say, okay, this is not even, and then they can read it. Oh, okay, so you got really 1 out of 3, and I'll just put 1 out of 3. And I could say, good, good job. And then I save it. And then the student will see that, and I don't have any more to mark. I can go into a report if I wanted to, and also see the students' quizzes that they've completed. So I have an idea. This is the Battle of the Plains of Abraham. This is the one that was done by that student right there. So, and I could basically click on it again, and I can see that that's the correct one. Go back. So this gives us a good idea of how a teacher will be marking these quizzes that they will be able to use. But also you can use these to teach French, to teach English, if you have a child at home, or even if you're, well, of course, if you're a teacher in school, you can definitely create easily some quizzes that you can share with your students about different lessons. You can add them to lessons that you've created from scratch, or you can basically take a portion of a lesson that already exists, create a new one, and then add a new quiz. So that way you may want to evaluate something a little different for the students that they would normally not have seen in one of our quizzes. So this basically comes down to, making it easier and simpler for people to create quizzes on GHM Academy. And in the future, we have a few good ideas that are coming along to be able to add a variety of different styles of quizzes. Do you have any questions?
Well, actually, I had one in the quiz reporting there. I noticed there was a second type of a report. I was just wondering if you could just cover that quickly.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to go back to the same classroom, and then we have a report. So we can do also a view of the quiz list. So this is a style of a different way of seeing all the quizzes that were answered by students. There is one thing I did forget, sorry, to tell you is a teacher can do is they can control how many attempts that a student can do on a quiz. If they only want them to do one attempt, they can actually select 1 or 2 attempts, and this will show to the student, this is the number of attempts that he has. I could show you what that looks like, and I can relog in. And I could say, oh, I don't want them to show the correct answers. So I can do that also. So I'll save that, and then you can see it when I go as a student. Let me see. No, didn't keep that student. Sorry. I'm going to have to go back. I don't remember it by heart. I'll have to go and get the login for that student again. Let me go here, user, and I believe it was this one we used, if I'm correct. And copy it. And then we'll log out here. It is. So I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to go to the quiz, and I can see I have 1 attempt left because I've already done it. So I can do it another time and see if I get better at it, right? And I will do general and then British Army, general. And then since I learned from my mistakes, hopefully, Army, and then we're just going to copy all this and then put it in. And this would technically be the answer that the teacher would be looking for. So that should submit, and I should get all good answers except for here. And if you notice at the bottom, I'm no longer able, there is no ability for me to take it again. So if the teacher decided to say that they had 1 attempt, right, then that's it. They get only one attempt to try, but it's controlled by the teacher. So that means if you're someone creating content on GHM Academy, such as a museum or different organizations that produce content on GHM Academy, you don't have to worry about that, because it's really the teacher that will determine if they want to use your quizzes, and they can determine how many attempts, or even if they want them to see the answers or not that you've put in. So you could put in the answers, you don't have to worry about that. It's under the teacher or the person sharing those lessons or those quizzes with the students that can control that information.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Martin. That was a great introduction and great overview of quizzes. And so we're out of time now, unfortunately, so we have to go, but thank you all for attending.
For more information about GHM Academy, go to ghmacademy.com. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and also like. Thank you.